Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It is Friday and sun's out. Wonderful day in Brisbane, Australia. Now, today yesterday, I should say, we knocked over the main work on our pipe. Available in the previous videos if you wanted to have a closer look, or if you've got any questions, let me know in the chat. I'll do my best to answer them. But today we are moving on to the other hand, and the mushroom. And as you can see, I've crudely wrapped the back end of the mushroom and the stuff that we've already done as far as the hand and everything is concerned, so we don't get any overspray on it. We're going to be doing some airbrushing on the back section and bringing that red up that we want. Now, because of where the light is on that and because of where it's structured, the main part of the work we're going to be having is, well, you can even see it. I'll swap it over to the other camera. You can see in this blue and paler section, we're going to have a bit of color back here, but most of this is going to be our darker color amongst everything. We've got someone on Twitch. So welcome aboard. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And let's get stuck into it. So we're using the Chimera colors. I'll just get this headset out of the way because we're not going to need it for this bit. And we're starting with our probably these two first off and foremost, the Royal Brown and the Wine from Chimera. And that's the Velvet ink line that they've got, but we are going to be running through the Galeri Premium Mobius 0.2 airbrush, which is that guy there. Most of the work's going to be low, so I'll move the camera down a bit. Okay. So how's the lighting there? Yeah, that's all right. It might get a bit blown out in spots. So we'll get things kicked off. Oh, grab the wine, meant to be getting the Royal Brown because I moved it over here. It's been one of those mornings, people. I woke up late and it set the precursor for the rest of the day. But let's see if we can make things a bit better. Just add about 5 drops of acrylic thinner in there. And as you can see, it's quite a solid paint, but just cover the tip, push down on our trigger to let some air through. Whoop. We may need a bit more. Yeah, we do. That's all right. We want this coat fairly heavy. It's going to be the base tone of our mushroom, or our shading tone, I should say. Just add another 2 drops there. So who's this on Twitch? Say hello. Even though it does have quite an element of brown to it, so that would be leaning more into our oranges. But it's a very red brown, which is good because we don't want to go too far over. Just going to build this up slowly in layers because while this paint is quite thin, it is very effective in lots of layers, lots of smaller layers. Already see the change in tone. Not too drastic as yet, but we'll get there. Now, I went live a bit earlier today just because I am one of these folks that has the problem of planning things usually involves me sitting waiting for them to happen, even though they're planned for later in the day. Come on. 1, 2, 3. Which I've been told is a neurodivergent thing. Which, given the way I've lived my life, it's not at all surprising. What's the haven't been diagnosed, but there are signs. Okay. Well, we've got that a lot heavier now. See that tint coming through. I might have to pull this apart. This is the Aminita Shaman from Creepy Tables. This is going to be our Crimson Brush competition piece. Decided to throw some music on my ear because I need music to function. And over the last few days, I haven't had it, and it's been getting to me. So I'm just going to mute this microphone just for a second. Hey, Hazard, welcome aboard. I just need to mute the microphone for just a sec while I dry this out with a hairbrush. Hairbrush? Okay, there we go. Now, Hazard and I were talking in Discord, someone else's Discord, not mine. I haven't got one set up yet, but I'm planning to. About one of the pieces I did recently for a commission. It was actually 2 commissions side by side, and it was for 2 crows, and they were from Rescale Miniatures. Crows, ravens, Archduke Mousen series from Rescale Miniatures has lots of really beautiful pieces. One of which I entered into QMHE, and he was inquiring about the metallic effects or the iridescent sheen that I had on the crow's wings. Now, it was a multi-layer one. So I started out with a black prime, and then I went in with, I've actually got some of this stuff called Muso Black, which is one of the blackest blacks available, like 99% light absorbing black. Crazy stuff. Got it a while ago, and I use it occasionally when I need to really get like looking into the void happening. And once I had that down, I then dry brushed a black metal, specifically the Scale 75 Metal and Alchemy series, the black metal that they've got in there. And then I lightly airbrushed again, but only on the very edges and tips with a silver metal. I think it was thrash metal in there, which has got a bit of a reddish tinge to it, but sort of gives more the impression of a stainless steel finish when you look at it on the table. Then I went over that with tints of inks. The Scale 75 inks were good for those because they're semi-transparent. Now we've just mixed up a mix of our wine, so we can start getting into the upper sections, pulling more of a color in. You can already see that taking effect. Getting a lot of the orange out of our previous tone. Now, from the inks, I used a blue, like a deep ocean, not an ocean blue, sorry, cerulean blue, midnight purple, and a really deep green, which I keep forgetting the name of. Let's see what it is. Oh, that helps greatly. The labels come off. But these are the Scale 75 intensity line. So that's the label there, and all those inks are from that. The next step after that, I went in with a blue black wash. That was an oil wash, which you put on, and then you then let it dry for a minute or two so it gets into where you want, and then you wipe off the excess with paint cleaning thinner, white spirits, mineral turpentine, that sort of thing. Then once I had that wiped back, I touched up areas as they needed to. But then over the whole lot, I applied Vallejo Color Shift. That's them there. And you can't really tell. It sort of looks like a metallic grey in shot. But let me get it out here. Just rub a bit on the back of my hand. So, as you can see, it's got that iridescent shine to it. And it's also multi-pigmental. So this particular one is turquoise violet. So it goes from a sort of a steely blue to a really nice purple color. It sort of has the transition on the label there. And then I went over that with a just a panel liner wash just to hit certain recesses and bits and pieces. And then if I needed to, added tinting with purples and greens to sort of give out underlighting. But yeah, that's how I did those. So it was all very much an experiment, actually. When I was doing it, I'm very much a I wonder what if painter, and then I usually go about doing that. But yeah, that's how I did it. Hazard. If you want to know the exact not recipe sort of paints I used and bits and pieces, I can drop me a message and I'll take photos and stuff, send them through, because it was all pretty much pretty standard. So now we've just gone in with our wine. We're going in with the Alizarine Crimson, which is a slightly washed out version of the Crimson. So this will start to pick out our highlighting. We're only going to do this in that top third. So you can see already the effect that that's having. Now, I was going to go and do with this particular one, the mushroom on the back end here, start to do a waxy finish on it, sort of building it up. But given that it's predominantly a single tone of color, I think I'm just going to add the PVA mix that I make up over the top a couple of times after the colors are down, so it won't be a waste, because we're going over a lot of those areas, and we don't want the look of the flesh being deep because of our light, which we want to try to avoid. No problem at all. Awesome. So we'll go in next with our carmine, which is it's a dual pigment. It's very red. Now, we're still leaving the residual in the bottom of our brush from our previous color. Just adding these over the top. So it helps us establish a blend without blending. Only need a little bit of this, and we need it strong. So we might do this twice, actually. Go over our first layer. But you can already see how that that just launched the red very much, which is what we wanted, because we do want this to be a point of the model that you would look at. Just that top third. We've still got our dark undertones down here, which we're going to be mixing a little bit of purple in with when we get to our lighting stage. Now, I think I might go straight in with the tomato now. I was going to do another layer of that, but that came out really, really bright. Better than expected. Going in with 3 drops of that. That's the tomato. Hope everyone's having a good Friday. Or a Thursday, depending on where you are in the world. Have you got something cool planned for the weekend? Now, I'm just going to mute the microphone and dry this out so I can do this next step. Okay. All dried out. Still only fairly subtle, but that's where we want it to be. There we go. pulling that out a little bit more. Quick blast out with ISO. What is that? It's gone. That's all right. Oh no, I used it there. Cool. Now, this tomato is very punchy. It's got a, seems to be a yellow and a white. So it's very animated tomato. Oh yeah, that's shiny. It's going to hit it with the dryer back in a second. Now that's dry. We've got a nice transition. See, we've got our nice shading and everything happening here. So depending on where thinking about this and planning on the fly, don't mind me. I don't know if that's punchy enough. I think we might have to filter in some white and then hit it with the tomato again, just so we can really whack that red right through the roof. That requires a bit more of clean. Now this is a mix of window cleaner, a cleaning product called Simple Green, and water, and it's just a big blast clean through detergent that I use for everything. I use it for my cleaning off mixture for my brushes. I use it as a come on, to do a first pass clean out and just pick up all the crap in my airbrush, airbrushes. Um, okay, bit more, but bit more crap in there that we're gonna have to clean out. Uh, Old brush straight into the reservoir, just to loosen up any crap that's sitting around the pin and underneath the pin in the recess there. So as you can see, that was running clear just before. There we go. Now, because it's a negligible amount, I just do that straight into my bin, which I have under my desk because I don't have a lot of room. Now, I'm going to already use a watered down white on this. Actually, no, I won't because I haven't used anything else apart from Chimera on this. So that's what we're going to continue to do. Get a really good mix up on our white. Who's out there? It's going to actually quickly check and see if I've got sound across platforms. Twitch. Twitch is live. Testing 1, 2, 3. Hello. Hello. There's no sound. What about now? Oh, there we go. Okay, so working on Twitch. Bloody YouTube music. Go to my account. We are live now. Hello, chat. That's working. I know people are chatting to me via Twitch. Okay. Right. So we're going to pull through with our white. Now we're going to dilute this quite heavily. So 2 drops of the white. 3. Hello, welcome aboard. Hope you're all doing well. I hope that's just not residual me talking to myself, but okay, mix that together. So just to show you the consistency that we're working with. Very light. So that way we can build up our ridge highlighting. Dropping pressure down on our brush. Okay. So that way we can just slowly start to build up that edge. And our reflecting point. Gently build up. Because mushrooms are naturally quite waxy, you want to build up a smudged highlight. Just going to hit that with the hairdryer, dry it out so we can hit it again and go in for another layer. Small. What was that, Hazard? Can you hear me now? Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay. One more hit. Okay, so now that we've got that down, we won't go too bright on it as yet, in case we want to go over. There's a fair bit of build up in there. Oh. Okay, let me get a tissue so I can get down in that. There we go. Cleaned out. Back in with our tomato. 3 drops of that because we're going to go a bit heavier this time. Because we want to cover that white. But because we've got that white underneath, well, we've got that white underneath our red, what it's going to do is filter that light transition really, really well for us. Now we might go a bit wider with this red now that we're punching up. You can see that orange now. Now it's a real kick in the teeth. So we might have to go back in with our carmine by the look of it. I'll just dry that and see what it looks like. Okay. Yeah, we will touch a bit more carmine down just in this bottom section here. I don't want to move too much of that top red. Get rid of that. So we've still got a couple of residual drops. Just moved my microphone earlier because I thought it might have been a better placement, but now I'm not so sure. carmine mix. You can see the magentas. It's haloing. We might even. There we go. Then the next step is by hand with brush, mixing in those little creamy white uh, nodules on the back there. Now, the mix that I use for the glue and thinners and stuff, I will be incorporating into the fleshy underside of our mushroom. So the gills and bits and pieces. Okay, clean airbrush. So we'll disconnect it so the air compressor doesn't annoy the crap out of us. And now we're moving over to our wet palette. This is the wet palette from Mindworks Games. It's quite a nice size for my desk. I do also use, I've got a travel kit that I've set up with this really awesome travel paint system that you may have seen online called the Kridrufi. Links for that in the bio of my Instagram. Actually, need to update the links and bits and pieces on the rest of the platforms as well, so I will do that at some point. But it's a Kridrufi paint system. It's sort of a little wet palette, two paint cups, storage area, brush holders. That's all this big. It's like it's spins about that high and it's about that wide. I actually plan on doing a giveaway soon with one of those and some of the brushes that I use. I'm just bolting down some money so I can get stuff paid for. But yeah, that's something that's coming up, and I might even do that on stream. Who knows? Right, so back to our desk. We are working on the creamy nodules on the back of our mushroom. The camera back up so we can see. There we go. That's about a good spot. Now to do that, we are mixing together white, papyrus for our main, sort of just to get that bone white effect, and just to give it a bit more cream, this cold yellow. So we'll get kicked over on that. Start off with our three colors. Now, we're going to need a lot of this because it's going to be the color for the back of our mushroom, for the underside of our mushroom as well. I got music going in my ear just because I don't have licensing and bits and pieces for music. So bit of an eclectic mix that I listen to. There's element of punk, R&B, dance music, everything apart from, well, I suppose there's even a little bit of country. Everything apart from opera. Um, Now, I was talking to Jin, Jin, um, on his stream yesterday, and I noticed he grips the brush like I grip the brush. Now, this is that tattoo tape I was talking about, or tattooist's tape, that they put on their guns, machines, whatever you'd like to call them. That's just a roll of it there. It's very squishy, so as you can see, it's got quite a lot of give, and it's slightly sticky on the underside, so it sticks really well to itself, but you still need just the tiniest bit of tape to hold it in place to the brush. And I usually go about that much on it. So when you hold your brush, it rests a bit easier in your hand, and because of the pressure, you have more minute control over everything I found as well. So, little tip and trick from the table. Dropping out some of that retarder because, well, Australian weather. Now we're just going to mix up our base. There we go, that'll do for the first pass. Alrighty. Because my focusing is shot, sexy goggles. I'm just going to start randomly. This guy looks all right. We'll start with him. Now, this particular one is this particular mix, I should say. So you can see it there, sort of a bone with just the tiniest touch of yellow. That's just so we can get a strong undertone on these nodules. Any of my collegists out there, what are those bits called? So I'm guessing Friday 12 till 2 isn't a really active time on Twitch. Well, for people to want to watch mini painting streams. There we go. I'll actually move that camera down a touch. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, center shot. Ah, I wonder if we're going to get through most of this mushroom today. What time is it? 12:30. We might do. See how we travel. Hmm. Still only one. Who's that out there in Twitch land? Is that still you, Hazard? What song is this actually? Positive Charge, Gaslight Anthem. That must be one of their new ones. It's a damn good song. Bit of Aerosmith. See. There's a fella on TikTok who does can you name the song? And he sort of spins it up on a turntable, but he gives you one beat and four clues or five clues, depending on the band. And he seems to have quite a following from it. It's something as simple as that. It's interesting what can hit the zeitgeist. There we go. So, sort of creamy and grey, but not too overwhelming as yet. We'll probably hit that with a white in spots, just to really bring out our highlights and tones. Some of these I'm going to have to go over again. Still only one on Twitch. Very quiet Friday so far. Meow. I wonder how much of a music of a piece of music and what elements the algorithm picks up that does the auto detection for copyright materials. I mean, could someone play just the guitar part or just the bass part of a song and have it picked up, I wonder? Or does it require more elements? Weird things like that interest me. Uh oh. Is this Tism? It is Tism. Uh oh. Yeah, for those of you in other parts of the world, Tism is an Australian comedic outfit. Probably the best way to describe them. They do play instruments, so they are a band. They are quite intelligent, hedonistic comedians. Um, some of their more famous works are Greg the Stop Sign, He'll Never Be an Old Man River. So you can already tell that they're not for everyone. Um, well, you probably could have gathered that from the name Tism. Now, they've sworn for years that it means this is serious mum, TISM. But I have a feeling it might stand for something else because they are a very neurospicy, eccentric group. There was rumours years ago. They're from Victoria in Australia, and during the 90s, there was a rumour, probably started by them, because that's what they're like. Um, because they're, well, up until recently, their identities have remained secret and they gave themselves pseudonyms. And when they performed, they wore ski masks, like full on balaclavas, and usually matching bodysuits, either black, white. I think they've had purple. Um, but the lead singer is Humphrey B. Flaubert. Um, and just names like that. But there was rumors during the 80s and 90s that they were secretly masked members of the Geelong Football Club. Now, this has neither been confirmed or denied by the band themselves, but there is another couple of other bands that have popped up since. Um, whose names elude me, but after people did homework, it seems that there are a bunch of guys from one of the universities in Melbourne's drama departments, which stemmed a lot of Australia's comedian comedy royalty. Like the Big Gig, the guys from the Big Gig, the guys from the Chaser, just various comedy groups, Tripod. Um, I think Doug Anthony All Stars, if I'm not mistaken. as well as single comedians. Like some of the greats have come through this group of people. But yeah, if you want to look odd at every Australian you ever come across ever again, listen to Tism and just think, this is Australian comedy. What the hell is wrong with the Australians? The fact that we live in a country that is doing its absolute best to kill us as much and as horribly as possible due to all of our wonderful wildlife. We need an outlet, and comedy, good rock bands, a la AC/DC, Airborne, Screaming Jets. Good musicians in general, actually. We've got some really good top lining musos in Australia. One of my favourites is Powderfinger from Brisbane, where I'm currently living. Um, Hilltop Hoods, can't forget them. They are very, very awesome. Now, you can see I'm being a bit rough and I need to go over some of these surrounds again because I couldn't be bothered moving to a smaller brush because I've still got a lot of these to do. Maybe I should just start singing K-pop Demon Hunters songs. You reckon that'll get more people on stream? Damn K-pop Demon Hunters. They knew exactly what they were doing. Every single one of them. They went, we need to make an earworm that will make us lots of money and convert men, women, children alike. They had a practice run with Psy in the early 2000s. They went back to the drawing board, tweaked a couple of things, added some bits and pieces here and there, did some tasty hooks. And then they released Huntrix onto the world for world domination. They have the whole of social media eating out of their hand. I mean, I posted something to my wife of a royal brass band. Yes, in England, the guys with the big, I don't know what they're called, the big fluffy hats in the red, the soldiers, the guards of Windsor Palace, had their brass band doing Golden by K-pop Demon Hunters. I could just imagine Prince Charles up there going, "What do you reckon?" Or King Charles, sorry. Don't smite me, my lord. I am just a servant of the Imperium. The Imperium of Man, not my emperor. 2025. Where did I put there? I found a hair. So we're going to fix it. Well, this is how eclectic my mix is. I just had K-pop Demon Hunters. This is how it's done. And I think maybe Rise Against. Oh no, this is Sugar Ray covering Abracadabra from the 80s. I do love some remakes. Kiss me, baby, let the fire get higher. Abracadabra. I wanna reach out and grab you. Abracadabra. Abracadabra. You make me sigh. You make me laugh. You make me cry. For your love with the touch of a velvet glove. Abracadabra. Reach out and grab you. Abracadabra. Caress. Touch your dress. Leather and lace. Angel's face. Probably can't say that one. In your eyes. Feel your smile. I want to say Electric Light Orchestra, but I'm not sure. I think it was Steve Miller Band, wasn't it? Who we got? Still got one person on Twitch. Hello. Thank you for hanging around. Kiss me, baby, let the fire get higher. I'm gonna hate all of these little mushroomy bits, I can just tell. Shushmore, shushmore. Can't go down, round and round. Whoa. Whoops. There we go. Yeah, I'm thinking we might add just a tiny bit of our indigo. Oh no, maybe our purple actually into that bottom section. Just because we're going, oh no, no, we won't do that because we're going to do that later on. Silly me. And then we got Ex-Girlfriend by No Doubt. What time is it? It's almost 1. So, hour to go unless something amazing happens and get raided by somebody. I must admit, the concept of raiding is cool. You can sort of introduce people to other channels and such. thought I would have a few more people on today, but so far it is not to be. Do I need a gimmick? What gimmick should I have? Just laying down these nodules, we'll call them. Going relatively thin so we can go over them again and really get some richness and depth in our colour. Instead of losing all our detail and just slapping a whole colour on. Wanting to try and preserve as much of that as possible, and you can do that with multiple thin coats. Bit of muse playing in my head. Oh, I need to get some jelbos. So if you want to see the high res shots of this one, I post them on Instagram after each stream each day. I think I might also make a section on my website with like really high resolution shots. I usually do that towards like at the end of things. But if you'd like to see that, let me know. I'm going to keep talking because it's can't seem to hear when people are coming or going. Oh, Abigail, hello, welcome aboard. We are doing the mushroom today. So we've gone through and we've built up our reds. And now we're just doing our, hang on. Special. Wow. People of the internet, be very, very privileged. This is Panda. Lovely red colour on that mushroom. breed of cat, and you've heard of orange cat energy. He has it in bucket loads, um, generally causing mischief when not escaping into the yard because he is a house cat. He lives inside, along with our other cat, Boomy. But as an idea, Abigail, I'm 6'1", so I'll hold him. So that's across my shoulders. That's how big he is. He's huge. He's a very large boy. He's a very huggy boy. Yeah. But he has a small air pipe, so he doesn't meow like you would expect a cat of this size. Occasionally, when he was little, he used to sit on my shoulder up here and watch me paint. Now he's a bit too big for that. But this is my boy, and he's uh, bonded to me because when we got him, he spent the most time with me. But I've always said, let me point his face to the camera here, even though he doesn't want to. Ron Perlman, because he's got this big flappy chin. Oh, don't eat paint. That's my job. Ah, he's got such a beautiful face. He does, but as I said, orange cat energy. Yeah, does that paint taste nice? You fool. This is the longest he's actually spent getting cuddles ever. So I think we just turned from a painting stream into a cat stream. What do you reckon? Hmm? You gonna hang around? Should I set up a cat cam? Cat cam, cat cam. He can see himself on the screen, and he's like, the tail's starting to. He doesn't like other cats. All right, I got some painting to do. Cat kisses. He's licking my hand. He's looking at the camera. He's looking at the other cat licking me on the screen, going, "Stop licking my guy." All right, off you go. Oh. But yeah, that was Panda. Uh, so sometimes he hangs around with me. Other times he hides. Overhead cam. There we go. But I think he's about 5 now. I lose track of time. Just saying, I've got music going in an earpiece. What's going on? Whoops. No. I went to the wrong cam. Just overhead. That's the one we want. Right. Panda has a new fan. I was just saying that, yeah, I think he's about 5, 4 or 5. Let's see. Yeah, he's still sitting right next to me. I moved my chair ever so slightly. He gets this indignant scream. You walk past him in the hallway. Let's see if you can fit past him in the hallway. You just so much as lightly graze near him, and he'll, oh my god, you attacked me. He's a demonic wuss, is what he is. But when we first got him, we had to acclimatize him, and that looked like him being locked in my paint studio with me while I was painting for a week. And at the end of that week, he didn't leave. I became his person, much to the chagrin of my wife and son. Because he attacks everyone else, and he knows it would be stupid to attack me. Trickle down days all come numb in the haze. Wishing but for two in the night. Kind of afraid how it run to rain. You me standing through darker nights. Something was wrong. All the air in the night, screaming at the top of your lungs. You said, come on, come on. Do what you want. What could go wrong? Come on, come on, come on, come on. Do what you want. Come on. Do what you want, yeah. Oh, so what? Any cool plans for the weekend, Abigail? More painting? What are you painting, actually? I'm not sure if I asked or not the other day. I may have, and I may have forgotten. That's a distinct possibility. Is your here? And you remember me? Says my boyfriend packed up and headed back east. See someday she would go. New job and she does civil as ba da ba ba da ba ba da ba ba da ba. That's so fast. Another wasted day. Boring life in a boring town. Less than Jake. Saw these guys live and actually met them at a backstage meet and greet. Wasn't a like sort of knew them, wasn't really a fan, but the energy of that live show did it for me, and I've been a fan ever since. Really nice guys too. Really, really nice guys. That was with Real Big Fish, and I think the other band from memory was an Australian skate punk band called the Bennies. They were quite good. Uh, been a Real Big Fish fan for, well, since I heard them at 3 o'clock one morning on the music program Rage, and hearing rock music with horns infused in it on a two-tone backbeat, I didn't look back. Currently painting 40k kills. Oh, you're painting Votan. I love Votan. Says sisters, family. Oof. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean about the whole camping thing. I love camping, but unfortunately, my body has quite a few issues, and camping is not for me. But I try to do it for other people because it's not a relaxing thing for me. It hasn't been for a while now. Might need to mix up some more of this bone. Starting off with the bone, just a touch of yellow mixed in, and then we're going to pull in with some whites and maybe even some greys just to sort of establish shadows. Ah, bigger tents, and then we have this huge. Yeah, yeah. I used to like doing that stuff before I got sick, and I found after I got sick, I now have to plan my life around the possibility of me not being able to move. And any plans that I do have to take into account what those plans are going to do to my body over the days after said event. So yeah, it's almost a full-time job just trying to do that as opposed to actually doing things. Pre-planning and post-planning because you don't know what it's going to do, and you've constantly got to rechange those plans over the course of the event because not everything goes to plan. So what turned into something that was doable that would have minimal effect to my capability later on, one little aspect of that changes and it throws the whole lot out of whack. And it takes a week to recover instead of the day that you had pre planned. Even like even if I wasn't planning on streaming today, I would still be painting. But the fact that I am streaming means the way I'm painting and what I'm doing has changed considerably than if I was just painting for myself. Posture, engagement, making sure I'm staying in camera, things like that. Thinking about those may not be that much of a big deal for other people, but and it won't be after a while. It'll become routine. But having to think about that is taking resources away from me. Um, yeah, the joys of fibro and the multitude of other things that go along with it. I guess you spend a lot of time when you first get this illness mourning, because essentially everything you were up until that point in your existence dies, and you then need to figure it all out again while looking through this lens of constant pain, no energy, like fatigue all the time, and then having to deal with all the neat little caveats and things that pop up along the way. And like I was diagnosed 8 years ago now, but am I the same person that I was 8 years ago? No, absolutely not. Um, have things gotten better? Yes. Some things have gotten better, but have some other things gotten worse? Absolutely, they've gotten worse. And they have to be taken into account. It's all a monstrous pain in the butt, if I'm going to be completely honest. Oh, wow. My, I don't mind looking. Is the mushroom blurry, Abigail? Hang on. I've got a screen up here that shows me what you guys are seeing. But the problem with it is that's far away, and I need glasses to see up close and far away. Okay, if I move to about there, yeah, that should. It's not so much overwhelming for those reasons, but yeah, like as an example, before I was diagnosed, I never got anxiety. Anxiety. Well, I did. It's just probably I didn't know what it was, and it didn't hit me as bad. Like I'd get sort of a little bit hyper in social situations and get butterflies in the stomach, that sort of thing. But when I got sick, I had all the fun chemicals in my system screwing me up. Um, yeah, I really bad, real bad anxiety to the point where if you knew me before I got sick, and then after I got sick, it's where I was replaced with a doppelganger. that wasn't doing a very good job of being me because I wasn't me anymore. And it's probably the hardest thing about it is acclimatizing to your new existence. My random music selection has set the tone for my day, and that tone is Tism. We've just gotten our third Tism song for the day since I started, which out of a list of 5,500 songs, that's oh wow, Del the Funky Homo Sapien, Mr. Dobalina. This is an old track. Mr. Bob Dobalina, Mr. Dobalina, Mr. Bob Dobalina, Mr. Dobalina, Mr. Bob Dobalina, Mr. Bob Dobalina. Oh, oh boy. Gonna have to get myself some more Jelbos. Perfectly sharp. Cool. Strange. I can't hear. Oh, that's why it's muted. There we go. Now I should be able to hear the messages coming in. I've been dropping in on other people's streams and having a look at what people are doing, and just to sort of try and get a better idea of what works and what doesn't. But they're all very different from each other, and I suppose that's sort of the whole customization factor. It's all about finding your people. And so far, Abigail, you are my people. Since you joined and came along, you have been the most regular, and I appreciate that. And thank you very much. my friends drop in and say good day occasionally, but so far you get the MVP award, uh, Watcher of the Month. So because we've gone so thin on these layers, it is using a lot of the shade that we've already got underneath, and that's gently pushing through this bone color. So it's giving it the underlying shadow and texture. Streaming. Prefer the calm. There's too many with bling on screen in that hip hop music video. I'm not 20 anymore. It's too much. Oh, old man yells at cloud moment. Don't worry, I'm the same. Um, I, I find um, having too much on screen detracts away from what you're actually there for. And like, while the community side of it will grow, hopefully, um, the focus here is the painting and the techniques and like being able to see what's going on. And that's why I chose the camera that I did for up there and the weaker camera over there for my ugly mug. So the painting and the techniques look better. Like, I know I'm not a supermodel. I've been told I have a face for radio. I've been told people like my voice, whether it be because of the Australian thing or just the natural tenor that I have. One of the jobs that I did, job that I was doing when I got sick, actually, was working for a government department in the help desk, and there was one person who loved calling the service desk because she loved my voice. And this is very much an Australian thing, but we had this thing called movie phone, and it would tell you what was on. Like, you would ring it, it would tell you what movies were on at what cinemas in your area. It's a really cool little system. We didn't have too many cinemas, and I think he was just a voice artist, an Australian voice artist. Um, but I was told that I sounded like him, which, being on the phone and doing your job on the phone, it's kind of like the highest praise. But the only real reason that was the case is because I had a greeting hard baked into me that I got while I was working at Apple, of all places, for their service desk. And that was, thank you for dialing the Apple service desk. You've got Justin. May I start by getting your first and last name, please? And even now, I haven't worked in that industry. Well, I haven't worked for Apple for over 10 years. But it's in there. When you say it hundreds of times a day, and it is literally hundreds of times a day, it kind of hard bakes in to the point where I was even answering my own personal mobile phone with it, which was hilarious when you got marketers and stuff because they're like, "Wait a minute, you're a marketing service and I called you. How does that work?" But I'm glad you appreciate me streaming, Abigail, and I hope you stick around. Work damage. Yeah. Always work damage. I worked well, I started out in hospitality as a kitchen hand in a Chinese restaurant when I was 15, 16, 17, or 15, 16. Then from there, I started working in a backpacker hostel in the kitchen and was doing a certificate in tourism management, focusing on backpackers and bits and pieces and hostels and hostel management, stuff like that. And first, the chef quit who was supposed to be teaching me, which is always fun. And then the bar manager who was training me also quit. Me being 16 and not knowing really any better, didn't realize there was some administrative problems in this particular hostel that I wasn't aware of. But then I bounced around uh, bar work, more kitchen work in a little cafe for an ex manpower stripper. That's a whole different story. Uh, then I went to Sydney for a while, did some more hospitality stuff down there, got mistaken for a member of a famous boy band, well, an Australian boy band at the time, which was fun. Then I came back home, which was at the time Harvey Bay in Queensland. Worked on Fraser Island for a while. Started Fraser Island's first nightclub. Um, then worked in a couple of other backpacker hostels in Harvey Bay. Then in amongst that somewhere, I was doing pizza delivery. Then I moved into IT. Hurt my back and needed to get out of it and needed to get out of the nightlife kind of thing. Met my now wife around that time. She was working during the day and thought I should probably work during the day. So we got to see each other as it got to the point where I was coming home for bed and she was going to work in the morning, which wasn't fun. So I got a big boy job working in IT and I ran my own computer business for a little while. Then then we moved down to Brisbane. Worked in another couple of bits and pieces like computer places. Uh, got some trade qualifications doing IT work at a school, which I've never used and are kind of worthless as most of that stuff is when you realize later on. Then I was going to open a bar. The investment fell through. Then I started working for doing contract work for the government, just in IT and support and stuff. And I got sick, and here we are. I'm hoping that I will be here doing this for a while. I have. I'm not gonna lie. I have. Yeah, I'm a qualified chef, qualified barman. I have trade certificates for telecommunications. Um, oops, bit of a smudge there. Yeah, done a bit over my time, and it is my 45th year floating around this cosmos. Yeah, moved to Brisbane, doing all that. Uh, Finally married Kylie after something like 11 years. We have our beautiful son, who my mother cursed me when I was younger. She said, I hope when you have a child, it is just like you. Be damned if he isn't my clone. But I love him. Every scrap of my being. I try to tell him as much as I can. Ooh, real big fish has just started playing in my brain. Song in particular is Everyone Else is an A-Hole. It's a very good Monday morning song, especially when you're driving. Commute music. We are almost done with the first pass on this damned mushroom and all its little bits. Then we lighten it up. Just hit those high points again. Then we seal it up with our PVA mix so we get that waxy look happening. We might do a couple of coats of that just to really, really push that waxiness. So if we touch the PVA with a very tiny amount of white, it will give a murky, waxy look to what will eventually dry into the clear coat. We have time. We're at 1:45. CV is terribly short. Dropped out of school. Only half service. Hate it. So left after basic. Spent the next 7 years. Started studying to be a nurse. Hit the wall. Spent several months. Lab technician. Hey, that'd be cool. Day shift. Same job. Day shift. Rank like a rocket ship. It just sounds like you haven't found your thing. But a lab technician sounds cool. I would. That to me would be an interesting role. Yeah, I know what it's like to float and feel listless, not knowing what you want to do, how you want to do it. Hell, the original plan was go to university out of high school. I was accepted, of all places, to Cambridge University for an art scholarship, but I couldn't get there because at the time it was far away. I had been living by myself. Um, since I was, I think, 16, 17, somewhere around there. 17. Um, but yeah, the original plan was to go to university and get my doctorate in fine arts with um, an element of restoration and curation, and start off that career doing restorations of artworks and starting out in curation, and then becoming a full-on art historian professor level, teaching the techniques and bits and pieces. But life got in the way, as it generally does. Thing, I feel like this is me now. It's a dream. Maybe miniature painting will be it. Give it a few more years, see if I stick with it. You very much sound like me, Abigail, which is a blessing and a curse. I My thing that I was really, really good at was walking into a bar and turning it around and making that bar make money again. Um, one such story is one of the backpacker bars I worked in. They had two staff on who did not want to be there. I was brought in as just under the guise of a worker, just to help them out, kind of thing. And it is. There's not much call for it, unfortunately. When it comes to bars and how bars work, I was very good at that. I was very good at it. But yeah, this particular bar would make. Now, let me lay the scene. This bar was part of. It was a private hostel bar. So imagine a gated community of backpackers who essentially you go to Harvey Bay to visit Fraser Island or Kagari as it's called now. Um, this backpacker hostel was like a caravan park almost, but it had this massive bar, and this room could have fit a swimming pool quite happily. In fact, it looked like a swimming pool room without the swimming pool. It was huge. It could have, I think the limit was 120 people in this room. So you can just imagine that space. It's massive. And in one corner was a bar. Right up the other end of the room was three pool tables, and then picnic tables on a tiled floor made up the rest of the space. And then in the other corner, sort of three quarters against one wall, was the bar. And it was soundproofed to an extent, uh, climate controlled, toilets, like double doors, like a antechamber room set up to get outside to keep the sound out, because after all, it was somewhere people were trying to sleep as well, and we had to deal with the houses and bits and pieces in the area too. So when the music was pumping, we didn't have people making noise complaints. So we did that quite well. But this bar would make, in this closed community that at any given time had probably about 80 to 100 people for most of the year, and these people changed every 3 to 5 days. The bar would make $60 a night, which at the time would have been the equivalent of 5 jugs of beer. That's it. Out of all those people. So I was brought on to turn it around because I'd had success in the other bars that I'd worked with and got a bit of a reputation for myself as being a party animal and a bit of a wild child. So slowly started building things up. Couldn't do much because the then manager at the time, who couldn't manage her way out of a brown paper bag, was overruling me at every turn, to the point where she just got the dirts with me and said, "Fine, run it yourself," and quit. Within the next month, that bar was turning over $3,000 a night. It was packed to the rafters, and I was getting home at 6 o'clock in the morning. Whereas previously I was going home at like 10 o'clock because the place was dead and there was no one in there. And the only reason that I would be getting home at 6 o'clock in the morning was because it took me that long to kick everybody out and establish them at our neighboring bar across the street, which was run by a friend of mine. So we had an understanding and a bit of a deal happening. But yeah, I then hired some staff. Um, Trained them up, and sort of ran that place for a couple of years and made the people lots and lots of money until they eventually sold. And I went along with them because I didn't agree with some of the policies and things that the new people were bringing in. And last time I checked, they were still there, but the bar has returned back to its former glory. No, it's strange. In places like Harvey Bay, it's it's a very weird town. It's called, amongst the hospitality community, the land of newlyweds and nearly deads, which means you go there to get married and have a honeymoon, or you go there to die. Otherwise, there's not much point in going. I mean, everybody knows everybody else because 90% of the time they're related to each other. Harvey Bay is Alabama. Probably the easiest way to describe it. So that person walked into another job and death death cycled it as well. But yeah, it was an interesting time in my life. So I was kicking butt and taking names, overexerting myself and overburdening myself, and basically just living life at full tilt. And now I'm paying for it. But I am doing my best to manage my illness and force it to work for me instead of me being at the mercy of it. Part of that is me streaming because having to do it as opposed to wanting to do it is what is going to drive me forward, which is what I want. But as I've said previously, some days are better than others, some days are certainly worse than others. Today was bordering on the latter. The stars were not aligning. Yeah, I really need to get some new gel bows for my desk. I'm starting to get pins and needles in my hands, just in the bottom section, like the pinky finger and the ring finger. Oh, I might have to make an Amazon order. Okay, So that's our first pass, and you can see the nice creamy tone that we've got happening. Um, honestly, as far as anxiety goes, first couple of days were a bit rough when people were online and watching because no one was talking. And because no one was talking, you become very, very self conscious and self critical, wondering, what am I doing wrong? Why aren't they talking? Why don't I have engagement? Um, I just see your comment about it being very lovely. Thank you. Um, going to go into some of the smaller areas and touch up a bit now. Actually, I'll go with this brush. But yeah, it's it may be your thing. It may be the people that you find. Um, so once you move, set it up, see how you go. Just going to get some of these over paint bits that I've done, mess ups, just touching them up with the carmine, which is sort of our middling tone. Just using a wash consistency just to touch up those small areas. But yeah, if it's something that you think will push you, motivate you, I say do it. Absolutely. I will certainly tune in when I can. Now, we might have to go with the tomato up there because that carmine is just pulling color into it. We don't want to overthrow what we've already established in those high areas. Yeah, we'll do that. So we've got a little bit of an orange touch happening because of that tomato. It's more of a bordering on a light burnt orange. Okay, I'll get a bit of this in. Fill up the brush a bit so we've got a bit of room to work with. Not many Swedish painters. Ah, that's a very valid point. And speaking from experience, um, not experience streaming, but experience with people from other places, um, I do like the Swedish voice. I don't know where she's from. I need to check this. I think she might be from Netherlands, maybe Denmark. Atraxia Painting is a European streamer, and I don't know if she streams. I know she does videos. She's got a YouTube channel. Um, but she's got a very a streetwise feel about her, and I really like that. It's quite a nice little engagement hook. I don't know if it's on purpose or what, but she's just got this way. Just going back through, touching up some of those overshoots that we've got here and there. Back to our carmine. So we can do these other sections over here. We're going to hit a very light tint of a purple once we get to our OSL stage. I'm going to have to go in with a wine, I think, on these to darken these out. I'm so happy when these Votan are done, laying orange over black because, oh man, it's pain. Yes, you're going with the orange Votans. I love the orange Votans. Actually, give me 2 seconds. Where is he? This is one I did a while ago that you might enjoy. Sit down. Here we go. My favorite color. I just had to. That's funnily enough. I love green. Green is my color, but when it came to the Votan, I absolutely had to go the orange. Actually, let me get the board at the back here. This is one I did a few years ago. I think last year or the year before. But yeah, I see what you mean by that. That black and orange. I pushed mine to sort of a honey color. But I think there's photos of that on my website in high detail. He's cool. He was sort of my very first Votan figure. No, sorry. The first one was the miniature of the month that Warhammer had at one point, and I'll get him too. He's just behind me here too. Where is he? Come on, eyes, do your thing. Where right on the end. Of course he's right on the end. See if I can get him for us. You're going to have to come down. Marshmallow man. Now, with this one, I went a little bit different. This was the miniature of the month, and it ended up being in a painting competition as well. We'll get our black. So there's lots of blues and purple undertones in that one. Hey, Painted 3D Prince. Hello, how are you? Welcome aboard. Just showing off some of my old Votan models because Abigail was is painting some Votans at the moment. I'm good. I'm very good for a Friday. Now that we've got some people here. Painted that bust as well. Oh, this. What you painted the Aminita Shaman from Creepy Tables, have you? Um, Link, if you've got it up on Instagram, painted 3D prints. If you've got it up on Instagram, I would love to see it. I'd love to see the different interpretations of it. Um, yeah, I'm having a lot of fun painting this model. It's very cool. Insta, another image site. Oh, which one? I'm not biased. I'm broadcasting across multiple platforms myself, so yeah, I don't care where it's stored, just as long as it's not the orange site. Yeah, of course. Post it in. Let's have a look. You've got your own website. Let's have a quick gander. Oh, hang on. I don't actually have an account on this one. Oh, okay. It's just yes, image bin. Continue. I just am making an account. Okay. So now if I go back to this one, click this link, it should open it up. Hey, we've actually painted quite a lot. I've also painted the Into the Wilds by Hero Models, which is on my Instagram. Oh, that's awesome. I love the yellow and red that you've got going on in that beard. No, that's all right. That's That's fine. I have no problem with that. You've got some awesome stuff there. Oh, pretty much most of the models you've got displayed there are ones that I have wanted. The Mother Nature one with the baby and the sort of druid looking bits and pieces. That's one I've always wanted to paint. I should say that vampire one. Is there a bigger one of it? That vampire one is cool. I love the starkness of the color that you've gone with there. But yeah, my do you have access to Instagram or don't like it? Don't want any part of matter? Hex figures, right? I'm just going to drop in a little bit of Azurine Crimson just on some of the spots that I've accidentally dropped onto the main mushroom. What was I saying? Oh yes, Instagram. I don't have an account, but it's too. Oh, okay, that's all right. Well, give me 2 seconds. Alrighty, this is turning into a show and tell stream. um, this is my Into the Wilds that I did recently that netted me bronze at the Queensland Model and Hobby Expo in August. I went with a very contrasting sort of early morning color scheme. So we've got our brighter tones. Yeah, I saw it. I saw it. That's why I grabbed it for you. And then on our other side, muted purples and indigos and blues. But yeah, I love this model. It is one of my all-time favorites. Why, thank you. Thank you very much. Put him in the background there. But yes, great artistic minds think alike. It's beautiful, my God. Thank you, Abigail. Um, that got third at the QMHE competition, losing out to one of my painting idols, who is Ben Flood, who is on Facebook, but not any of the other platforms. And the two pieces that he put in, like all my friends and family say mine is better. Hang on, what? I like the other ones that go in that set too. Oh yes, they are. The True Devon set is absolutely fantastic, and I want all of them, but I'm not made of money. And Hera models in Australia are quite expensive. I mean, I got that one on a good deal. I think I got it for $125. Um, this guy here, Aminita Shaman, is picked him up for $90, if I remember rightly. Yeah, it is, unfortunately. We may as well be on a different planet in some cases for things. Whereabouts are you at, Painted? Or do I know you know you? Lakes Entrance, Victoria. Ah, funnily enough, I'm from Warrnambool originally. Living in Brisbane. Have been for a while. Oh, so I was telling Abigail about my work history before. Um, Encompassing that, I was born in Warrnambool, which is Victoria, which is the state at the very bottom of the mainland mass of Australia. Warhammer is worse. Not going to lie there. As far as costing goes, um, it's getting to the point where it's just silly, which is why when certain pieces come out that I want to paint, that my brain goes, goblin need. I usually have to save up at the detriment of other things that I need. Like Jelbos. I need Jelbos. Models cost a fortune. Oh yeah, very much. Like the Crimson Brush competition that I've been talking about the last couple of streams. Um, they've got a new category this year, which even though I'm not attending, I'm going to paint along with, and it's buy Warhammer model. Everyone buys same Warhammer model, paint it to the best of your ability, and then get judged at a purely professional level by some of the best painters in the game. Which, to me, at my current stage in my painting life, sounds awesome because of the painters involved. Alberto Font being one of them. I don't know if he's going to be doing that much as far as the judging of that particular part of the competition. I know he's there for the other part of the competition, which would be awesome to get that level of feedback from that kind of painter. But just that figure was, I think it was $50, or no, it was $60. I remember noting that it's the Maggotkin no of Nurgle, Lord of Blights, that was picked by the judges. Now I've got him in sub-assembled, sitting in the box, waiting for the 1st of October, which is when the rules, the official rules, drop. And I'll see what those rules are, and I'll paint along, and then I'll self judge because I'm the worst judge of my stuff. Um, yeah, I'm the same. Painted, I love the AOS models. There is the Sylvaneth, the big rhinoceros beetle with the Queen of the Sylvaneth riding the back. Some of the orcs. Yeah, but $200 for a piece of plastic. I mean, if it was for Golden Demon, absolutely. But Golden Demon hasn't hit our shores since 2017. Given the stuff that they're going through at the moment, I think it's going to be a while before it comes back as well. Okay, so there's our first pass for our. I suppose now that it's dry, it looks more bone than what we had before, which is fine. But we'll throw some white down into our previous mix. And I'm thinking, because of what it is, we'll go in with a dry brush. No, that's a really dumb move. Lucky I didn't get that started in a hurry. That could have ended spectacularly bad. I'm just going to do it by hand. Just on our highlighted or our light facing sections. What time are we at now? Oh, we're at 2:30. We've gone a bit over. What the hey? Doing it for the kids, aren't we? To be your best friend, he said, no, been on the West End. Can't play the music that I'm listening to. Licensing. I can tell you what I'm listening to. There's a radio station. Painted would know this, being a fellow Australian, called Triple J. Originally, it was designed for the young people. Then the young people got old, and then the radio station went, well, now that I'm old, to crap. But they had this thing called Live at the Wireless, which they would showcase the various talents in the country at that particular point in time. But they also had another thing, which I can't remember the name of. Maybe Painter can help me out on this, where they would have a band come in and perform a song that wasn't theirs. I don't know how long they had to prepare for such an item. But what I'm listening to currently is the Australian hip hop band, the Hilltop Hoods, covering, I think it was called That'll Cover It, um, covering Red Hot Chili Peppers, Can't Stop. It's a bit of a different version. Oh, he's just broken into Phil Collins in the air tonight in the breakdown. But I think it's just an interesting take, such an interesting take on the song that has made it into part of my permanent playlist. Sort of a reggae backbeat behind it, and then it goes back into a nice female vocal break happening in the background, making it very soulful. Yeah, they constantly surprise me, and that's why I listen to them. And then we've got the Black Eyed Peas with Let's Get It Started. Ah, yes, Abigail, most certainly. I think you should stream. What are you up to today? Painted? Anything cool? Any plans for the weekend? Might have to do this mushroom as a two-parter, I think. Stupid. Step by step, like a little kid. Oh, I think Painted's gone. Just going over the uppermost facing parts in this lighter bone. So we can get some breaks and variants. We're only going to be doing these sort of 3/4 of the way because that underlying edge will be too far in the dark for these highlights. I'm going to enhance those differently later on with more shadow. Okay, bless me. So, your fiance wants you to go camping, or your fiance's friends want you to go camping. What do you want to do? One more pass on that, just to enhance those. I wish the way I've got Beam set up, it's probably a setting somewhere. I wish I could see when people leave, like who's on and who's not, like on Discord. So as much as I like asking questions to the void, I would like it if the void occasionally spoke back. Just pushing some of the highest. Oh, another smuts that I'll have to go over. Some of the highest areas lighter again, just to push that contrast. I mean, I've gone over time, over, I won't say allotted, scheduled time, but I'm having fun, just chatting with Abigail. But I may have to stop to get some lunch soon-ish. So where are we? 38. We'll push it out to 3. If you're cool hanging around, Abigail. Question mark. Okay. What I'm going to do is get a little bit of smoke color, which is our black, red, brown. Just going to make a very light tint to hit some of those recesses. So we can jump the shadow a bit. We want it pretty thin. There we go. I'm just going to hit the spots very lightly where shadow comes in from underneath, and that'll give us a bit more depth to each one of those little nodules. And I'm thinking by the time we got that down, that might be enough for this session. So I can get some food and a drink, which I forgot to do before I came on stream. Bit of old school Gangstar in my headphones now. And this has got enough of a brown to sort of pull down into that papyrus, and enough red to match in with the underlying reds that we've got going throughout the mushroom. So it's double lifting. There we go. We're already seeing some variance there. Mainly concentrating on the recesses, but on the bigger ones, if you hold it in the way that it's going to be standing and just dab, gravity will do a lot of the work for you. There we go. Got some tonal variance happening there in that yellow. And now the magic bit. We're going to do that glue mix. Just a tiny amount of our sealer, which is the old Tex, just to see if we can get some matte happening. So 3 drops of our PVA glue mix, which is already watered down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because I want that to stay alive. And thin it out even more. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Now, just going to hit this with the hairdryer just to dry it out completely. Okay, so that's where we're at. Got some really nice gradienting happening. And now I'm going to get a big brush, mix up our mix. Probably going to go over this a couple of times. Fairly generously. Now, the matte effects of this paint, of the Chimera ink, especially through an airbrush, like it in this particular instance, it looks like paper. It looks like I've just gotten watercolor paints and put them on paper. I'm pretty sure. Back to that eclectic mix of music. Taron Egerton from the Sing soundtrack, the animated movie, doing I'm Still Standing from Elton John. Going to go over this a bit heavier again, just so we can start to sell that waxiness. It's alright that we got some bubbles in there, we'll get rid of them shortly. Quick mute while I hair dry this. Okay, I'll draw it up. So, is that in focus? Yeah, that's in focus now. See how we've started to get that waxy finish. Another couple of coats of that mix, and we will be golden. Time are we at? 49. I think my music just repeated. Going back to OK Go, do what you want. Okay. Next drawing step. Back shortly. Okay. Second pass with our PVA mix. I reckon one more. Going over this fairly liberally because we kind of want it to set thick. Make sure to get that underside edge. Who's still out there? Still with me, Abigail? Alrighty. So I think that is where we'll leave things off today. But just so we can see the whole thing together. Unwrap. Okay. just so we can see it together. Block. So you can see where our light is eventually going to sit and the effect that it's going to have over the model, where our shadows will come in, moving around the front. We've reflected that in our skin tones and our lighting on the beard, and we need to bring all the other clothing and everything back into that. But I'm happy with where that turned out. We didn't get the whole mushroom done, but we got a fair chunk of it done, which is awesome. And see if I can juggle it so I can put the pipe in so we can see the whole lot together. I'm a completionist. What can I say? Okay, so that's how we're looking so far. I think we've got all our lighting placements and everything good. Really liking how that's coming in. And that mushroom's looking pretty waxy now, which is good. We've got our good color gradients and our highlights and everything's happening. But yeah, that, ladies and gentlemen, is Friday. Now, I don't have any streams set up over the weekend, so the next coming 2 days as yet. I may jump on randomly depending on what's happening in my life. If I need to chill out and do some painting, I'll come in and I may as well do some of this. But I will be back on Monday at 12 at this stage. I'm still shuffling around times and I need to investigate it more. But yeah, I hope that just little explanations of bits and pieces and things that we've gone through today have enlightened some folks. It's pretty quiet today, but we'll see if we can get that sorted out. The more known we get, the more people will stop by. But I hope you had a wonderful day. I hope you have a wonderful weekend in whatever you're planning on doing. And peace out. I will see you all next week.